This is at Trustworthy SLAV.
This is at Incognito, COH.
CRK Black Dot Compilled.
This is the Fed Post.
I mean, really, music is very Hegelian.
Oh, absolutely. There's certainly a dialectic going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm fucking stoked though, dude.
Yeah, that's always tight when something from like your old life is like useful again. That shit is always like that shit is tight.
Well, dude, it's like a sense of continuity, dude. Like,
yeah,
being like, hey, like, I don't know, dude. It's kind of like everything's so fractured these days that like it feels like you look at these old timers that were like, well, when I was 15 years old, I started, working on the line in this factory, and then just all of the years of my life were like a thing I gave to this company, and they rewarded me all the way through. And there's this clear through line through their whole life. And then, younger people like our generations and shit like that, it's like, okay, like, I guess I had this one life and I was this one person for this 4-year window a little while back. And then there was like the couple years after that, which was totally, completely different and had nothing in common. Like if you can actually have some coherent continuity.
The fucking labor market, just like being a person who's a young adult getting out, a young professional, young adult, young worker, young laborer, whatever, getting out and just trying to like get a job. If you aren't landing in a career right off the bat, which let's be honest, most people aren't now. Even people with degrees are coming out and still having to work, jobs that aren't in their specified field or that kind of thing. So there's people that are essentially, when you enter the job market, you just kind of start picking up jobs, and you might work a job for 2 or 3 years that might be like a customer service oriented job, right, or something. But then you lose that job, or you move, or circumstances change or something, or you need a different schedule, so you start working a different job, and like next thing you know, you just worked all these jobs, and they don't really have, like you're saying, any continuity. You're not really building a skill set necessarily. You're just doing different kind of shit and there was a little bit of transference in between them, but not really. So at the end of the day, you're left with just fucking nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like odd jobs. It's like, a lot of my friends were like, they'll just pick up a random moving job on Craigslist and then pick up some random, just completely connected shit. And like, there's always that thing of like, oh, you're either like the jack of all trades or like you're specialized. Yeah. And everybody wants you to be specialized now. That's like your value now is like, there's only a few people that can do what I do or whatever. But it's funny because like in the old days, it'd be like, all right, you're a stonemason because your dad, your grandparents were stonemasons, and like it's locked in. That's your fate or whatever, which kind of sucks because you're like, what if I want to do something else? But at the same time, that's almost better than just being like, yo, what the fuck do I do with my life? Which is like every kid leaving college now is just like, yo, what the fuck? What the fuck am I gonna do? And it's like too many options. And not enough like real jobs and like low enough barrier for entry for like a select career or whatever. So
I was like just talking about this with my buddy, but specifically like in how specifically about like identity, right? And that's like that old fashioned, like your dad was a stonemason or like your dad was a baker and your last name is Baker. Like that's like it's the, what do they call it? It's the sincerity model where like it's like your identity is assigned by your like social status and role, right? And then you have, now we have profilicity, which is like, this profile you cultivate, right? But like, after that, after sincerity, you had authenticity, and it's like, oh, well, I am who I feel like I am in my heart of hearts, right? This kind of truth within me that no one can tell me who I am. And honestly, if you kind of think about it, in the situation we're all kind of forced to live in, like just having your assigned identity is actually not really that bad of an arrangement, to be totally honest.
I think that like that kind of gets to the heart of the matter of what functionally identity is, right? Like identity ultimately takes place on a backdrop of social relations and other people and, the environment around you. So you aren't really just like what your authentic self of what you think of. Functionally, you're whatever people see you as, whatever role you can fill for other people and fill in the community around you or the environment around you. And so that's ultimately like a better actual quote unquote real indication of one's identity, because that's the only way it's actually functionally ever encountered.
Yeah, and you are what you do, you know, like you know, a really great example of this that I think of is because it's something that it seems like the discourse struggles with constantly, is like depression and mental health, right? Like, you know, there are times you create the spiral, right? You get sad and then you behave in a way that makes it like impossible to get out of that, right?
Right.
But like undeniable of this kind of chicken and the egg question of how it started is just like, dude, like at the times when I've been the most depressed in my life, like, you know what, I am what I do. Okay. I just am like getting out of bed at like 1 p.m. and fucking doing nothing all day. And it's like, you know, in that way, in that you are what you do, like, bro, start doing something.
Yes.
You know, like fill your life tangibly with actions and activities and shit that you're tangibly accomplishing and doing. And like, you can't really help but at the very least feel a little bit better than if your life is just fucking vacuous. Nothing.
That's actually a good point you bring up with the depression and stuff, because not only that, but you're also talking about identity, and people will use that kind of stuff as a way to provide an identity that may be, you know, missing for them, or one that they are looking for fervently. It's, oh, I'm depression, or, you know, like I am depressed, not I'm experiencing depression, not I am dealing with some depression. I am depressed. I am this, I am that. People just really take on whatever kind of infliction they feel like. And that's kind of how they view it and incorporate it into their daily lives. And so it does become something that it's very, you know, it's setting different patterns of action and of thought that are getting cemented in. And like you said, it just takes really changing those at a small level at first, at least, to kind of really get yourself out of that kind of rut. But people aren't going to be able to do that when they're constantly identifying with these things in the first place, because they see that as an extension of their being.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think this is like the Yerk episode where he makes, you know, where he points out very rightly that, you know, it's like it's incredibly unhealthy to like identify with your emotions.
Definitely.
And, you know, not to just act like, you know, depression is something that's merely just an emotion. It's just a feeling. It's you know, obviously more than that, but I certainly don't think it's a very good thing to identify with it as like a foundational part of your identity.
I mean, I think it is just a feeling, really. Like it's a feeling that's generated by real material, you know, situations and relations, but also at the same time, it's something that you experience in yourself, and you can use it to lead you to act in certain ways. And you can be, one way or another, you can have control over how you're leading that to let you act. Like you can either say, oh, well, this is going to be something that I'm going to let move through me in this way and negatively affect my life, or you can recognize it as something that is coming through, something that you can then use to motivate you to make positive changes or something. So in a way, like, yeah, it comes from a very real place, right? Like a lot of people have really horrid economic conditions, or living in very high stress environments, or they're living paycheck to paycheck, or, you know, things aren't working out exactly as they want it, because newsflash is not really working out exactly how anyone wants it in the current paradigm we're in. But at the same time, you can kind of affect how you let that model your life and your actions from that point going forward.
Yeah, for sure. Especially the idea of like people identifying as their ailments or whatever. Yeah, that is a weird thing. Well, you know, people want an identity, so mental health is like a nice way to get that, is to be like, well, I don't really have an identity, but I have this mental illness, and I can just claim that as like, you know, that's my flag or whatever. That's my gang, is the neurodivergence or whatever. Which is kind of crazy when you think about it. But
it's funny because I remember like I was talking about this recently with someone that, you know, I remember like when I was younger, I had some struggles with mental health that had some just kind of like explanatory power for just like where I was at in life. And it was just an important part of of my life, not necessarily like my personality or anything. But I remember like, man, it was like one day it seemed to like catch on that people were like really wearing problems that they had with mental health as kind of like a fashion accessory or this identity. And I remember like it occurring to me that it was just like, oh, like I'm like never gonna actually have like a meaningful dialogue with like anybody about this stuff, because like this is where this stuff exists now as this kind of as this like accessory, you know. And that's so foreign to like what my actual experience was with it.
Of course.
And I remember I remember that being, and this was like kind of maybe the first experience before all of the like, you know, online subculture stuff coming up that kind of promoted this. But like I remember this being like my first experience of being like, oh, like all of these platitudes about like we need to talk about mental health care. We need to talk about mental health and reduce the stigma and everything. And that's like a really important progress and everything. It was like, oh, these are like really empty platitudes. And they like mean nothing, because like when I'm talking about things that I've gone through in my own life, like, you know, I'm talking about a fundamentally different thing than most people that I'm talking to, or not to act like I'm some special butterfly, you know, or even if I am talking with someone who has had a very genuine and raw experience with it, the landscape of the dialogue becomes so warped by the thing I was describing that you'll never even really know. And so like the entire conversation is kind of just like a crapshoot, you know what I mean? And it's a fashion accessory of like just bourgeois society, basically.
Yeah. Functionally, this type of platitudes you're talking about actually do a lot worse, like to the cause of trying to help ease issues with mental illness or, you know, whatever, depression, anxiety, whatever it is, in any specific instance. These types of platitudes and the ideas and the kind of ideology that come along with them of just like signifying, oh, I need to put this in my bio now as an identifier or this and that, really identifying with it is pretty counter to like anything that an actual psychologist or psychiatrist worth their shit or any type of doctor would actually want you to do as a first step. Like most of the time they're going to want to have you separate yourself from the illness that you're experiencing rather than like dive into it and embrace it as your identity. Like you're going to want to see some separation in between you and those thought processes and patterns.
Yeah, which is so like it's so. I mean, it's just so obvious. Like, like in time, you know, times in the past, I feel like this stuff would go without saying. Of just like, yeah, like you are not this ailment that you suffer with. You know what I mean? This isn't who you are. The totality of who you are. It's just so obvious, right? But you know, I don't know. It's.
That's part of like the whole backwards thing, right? Where like everything that these people claim and that like bourgeois ideology as a whole and the state ideology that's being pushed as a whole really claims is like, oh, you know, we're all about trying to, you know, fight, you know, stigmas against mental illness. And we're trying to improve the mental health of the world and all this, or, you know, whether it be that or race or, you know, whatever it is, what they actually functionally do every single time goes completely in the face of what they're like, you know, purported goal is in the first place.
Totally.
Yeah, and people want to feel like victims. So, you know, and not that you're someone dealing with that type of stuff is not a victim, of course not. But like that doesn't change the fact that people do want to be victims. There's a lot of power in that.
Yeah, I mean, taking like the idea that you have no agency is like a really big part of like suffering with, you know, about a depression, right? And so like. Yeah. You know, if you're just only ever emphasizing, this is why I have a really big problem in reducing. This is something Mark Fisher talked about a lot, right? Like reducing mental health issues to just like the neurochemical basis of it. It's bullshit,
of
right?
Course.
Because then people just go like, you know, you hear these fucking Reddit brains. Yeah, these fucking, well, right. And these fucking Reddit brained weirdos that are like, oh no, like I was just born with
chemical imbalance, bro.
Chemical imbalance, bro.
Yeah, dude.
And
it's
like again,
no, motherfucker, something causes that dipshit. You're like, you know what I mean? Like people are just like, you're not just born wrong, dude.
Exactly. And then to the extent that there are chemical imbalances, which, again,
sure,
dealing with absolutes, it's difficult in these cases. Right. But I mean, Fisher has said, right. It's like, OK, and even if we do concede that is like that is perhaps like, a primary reason for some of these conditions or whatever, like then you still need to explain where where these chemical imbalances are even coming from, like specifically in the environment that's forming them in the first place.
Exactly.
Right? So it's I mean, I would definitely say like in a like a hyper political way, I would say that it's obviously like kind of a counter revolutionary, or however you want to word it, concept. And but it also, again, it just feeds into just stripping people of their own what was the fucking word, agency. It's horrible.
And they hand out like Ritalin like candy.
Of course.
They hand out SSRIs like candy. There's people who obviously, yes, some people have chemical imbalances for sure. I get that. But, some kids I remember growing up with who like had wealthier parents, whatever, like if they had any issue or whatever, like normal teenage issues, they would be like, oh, you have a chemical imbalance, and be like, all of them have ADD, all of them have like some synapses firing wrong, and then they prescribe them that, and then one of the side effects of some of those SSRIs would be suicide. Would be like suicidal ideation and all that shit.
Or especially if you try to come off of it.
Yeah, and it's like it does some weird thing where they would describe it as like it numbs them out in a way where it's like it's supposed to, like, if you did have a chemical imbalance, it would sort of like set you right. But if you don't, it just kind of numbs you out. And then you're like, all right, well, then what's the point of living? Because numbness is the real, like, that's the real, trying to check out mentality.
Yeah,
anhedonia is the worst.
Fuck that shit, dude. Allopathic medicine is absolute horse shit. They're like, oh yeah, bro, you got this one thing that's wrong with you. Let's not look at your like actual whole body and how it all works together and how you're dealing with your environment. Let's just prescribe you one specific thing that's going to help to fix that one symptom. Not actually address the cause, not even try to get to what the cause is. We're just going to try to fix your chemical imbalance by creating another fucking chemical imbalance. What kind of bullshit is that, dude?
Yeah, we know why. We know the incentive, obviously.
Oh, of course.
To give every kid Ritalin and have them just like a permanent drug addict. But it's all legal.
When I was a kid, I got prescribed Adderall for a brief stint. Dude, that shit fucked me up, dude. That shit's just meth, dude. Like, it's just speed.
We're giving children meth in mass, bro.
For real.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, it's one of these things where it's like, I feel like you, in a lot of places, you probably would be hard pressed to find like a household that didn't have somebody at one point that was prescribed something like this shit. I know a lot of people who, took, were on antidepressants and dealt with really severe, anhedonia or just that numbness, right? I know a lot of people who, dealt with, sexual dysfunction as a result of a lot of this kind of stuff. And, I mean, obviously present company excluded. I'm all for the haters and losers, nothing to worry about. But no, it's fucking horrible, dude. And it's like it's like a dumb boomer joke, but it's like it actually gives something. It gives people something to really be sad about, right? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. And these are kids. They're kids. And they need guidance, and they're being misled.
Well, yeah, and they're putting them on this kind of shit and telling them that their brain is wrong and they have chemical imbalance and stuff because they don't want to sit like in a room under fluorescent lights and stare at a screen for 8 hours a day, starting at 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. because they maybe want to like walk around the room a little bit or something, do shit that like active human beings would do, or they're sad for one reason or another because their environment's not good and it's, oh, you know what? No, that's just some shit in your brain. I don't know, man. That shit really frustrates me. I'm pretty like I don't be going to the doctor and stuff that often, just because like I don't really agree with the way that we approach medicine ultimately.
I legitimately hate doctors.
Yeah. 100%.
Oh yeah, I was posting about that today. I literally hate them. I've hated them pre-COVID. I hate them.
Yeah, of course, dude. Bro, I was in the hospital for a month and a half one time because I went to the hospital with a appendicitis. And they told me I had a stomach bug. They sent me home. I went home. A week later, I come back like mad, fucked up, about to die. They tell me, oh, it's still a stomach bug, actually. Just drink a lot of water. I go home, almost die. Had to call my like childhood pediatrician to come see me at my house. And he's like, oh, you need to go to the hospital like right now. Without even looking at me in any type of test or nothing, dude. And then I was in the hospital for a month and a half and then experienced other bullshit because they kept fucking stuff up. Like, dude.
They're just fucking retards.
Yeah, you know, because when I was in college, everybody that was trying to be a doctor was just like in it for the money.
Yep.
Like I would say 90% of them were like, I got to be a doctor or a lawyer, bro. So it's funny, like there's this veneration of like healthcare workers and doctors and nurses and all that of like, oh, they're like, you know, heroes, bro. Mm-hmm. And then lawyers get like this rap of like, oh, they're scumbags or whatever. But to me, there's not that much difference because a lot of those kids were just like, you know, immigrant parents or whatever, which, you know, I got immigrant parents. I totally get this. This is not like a shade to them, but it's like, be a doctor or a lawyer.
Yeah, no, you have your flaws too.
Yeah. I got my demons. but pick a doctor or lawyer. It's like, you know, if you think about it like that, to them it was just like, all right, well, which one pays more? Or how much more school do I have to do for? You know what I mean? It's not really like a. That's why the veneration of like, oh, they're heroes or whatever. And you know, they from my experiences, they look at you as some shit off of a fucking assembly line. Mm-hmm. They look at you as like, what are you here for? They don't even make eye contact. Like, what do you want? They give you bullshit diagnose. They don't even like really listen to what you're saying. Mm-hmm. They give you bullshit diagnose. They give a prescription that they're getting a kickback from big pharma for. You know what I mean? It's very detached and like, yeah, of course there are some good doctors. Obviously, I know that, but like. Just the rap they get in general by like people like libs, especially of like, oh my God, they're a doctor, like you're like a rock star or something, like the Pope. You know what I mean? They've got this type of thing that I think that doubles into why I hate them. Why I've always hated them.
I've never even thought about that actually about it. It's really just one of two options for so many people. Like I remember being as a kid, like people telling you, oh, you want to get a good job, doctor or lawyer. Especially like you're talking about with immigrant families. It's like if you're an immigrant child, you got two wolves inside of you, doctor or lawyer. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Maybe engineer.
Right.
But,
right.
Actually,
right.
to be honest, I feel like engineer is the least hateable out of all of those.
Of course, you're building shit.
For sure.
Yeah, that's actually kind of sick.
That's something that both sides of the aisle can agree on. That's infrastructure, baby.
Straight up, FedPost listeners, if you're a doctor or a lawyer or studying for either, you're on notice. If you're an engineer, you're all right in my book.
Salute. Mm-hmm. Salute to
respect,
you.
Dude.
Doing God's work.
Yeah, make some fucking
the modern stonemason and all that. But yeah, I mean, and it goes without saying, obviously, that all this, like, you know, what we're talking about of like the Ritalin industry and like that whole scheme, the SSRI industry, like they're the people that are doing the back stuff. I mean,
of course, man.
It's not even need to be said, but like, again, it's just a through line. It's just a through line of like, did things pre-COVID, like, did they disappear when COVID started? Like to some people, like I don't know. Like there's got to be some through line. No, to me, things are the same. Like you know what I mean. Not too much is. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna rewire my brain and be like, oh, you know, just because of COVID.
Wait, you're talking about having you're talking about having principles? I don't know about that,
basically.
Or incorporating like information you've learned into your thought process moving forward. No way.
Right.
Yeah. That's I mean, sentence.
I don't even see. I think that actively people are just trying to act like they still don't like big pharma, even though they're trying to push the vaccine and stuff. Like they just came out with on Hulu a show called Dope Sick that has like Michael Keaton, Batman.
I like Michael Keaton.
And it's about like the Purdue Pharma OxyContin scandal and the cover up and all that. And they just came out with that on Hulu, like Hulu original, and it's pretty popular. And like, there's people that still actively recognize that while simultaneously being like, you gotta go and get this vaccine and this booster, and you better call the vaccine, and you better never say anything about side effects. And like, dude, one thing I was realizing the other day when I was watching some football on TV and seeing commercials, they pulled out vaccine commercials. And most of the time, if you're watching a commercial for, you know, any type of medication or treatment or something, they have to legally list side effects. They don't have to do anything like that on the vaccine commercials. They don't list a mention of side effects on the commercials. And since they got the emergency youth authorization, they don't have to. But it's just fucking crazy. Like, you can sit there and watch a commercial for, you know, some type of terrible, like, SSRI, like, soul stealing bullshit. And then they'll be like,
I'm going to use that from now on.
Yeah, dude. But it's really like that. But they'll be like, this may cause this, and this, and this, and that, all this bad shit. But we're going to read it really quickly with, like, whimsical music behind us. And then they're like, all right, now vaccines, it's a brand new day. It's good for children. And then it's nothing. And people will sit there and be like, man, isn't it so crazy how we're the only country in the world where it's legal to advertise for medical treatments and advertise for medicine and stuff? And then in the same breath be like, man, I'm so glad they're getting that information out there about the COVID vaccines. I don't understand it.
It's just yeah, I'm fucking A.
Just cognitive dissonance, bro. And it's just developing so deeply entrenched in everyone now. It's like, it's so bleak.
Yeah. Well, people were saying on Patreon, one person was saying that they need a white pill. So they said they want that because I think it was the Hoops and Lilith episode.
Was it too much of a black pill?
Well, the first half was good. Like, it was funny and all that. But the second half, I think we got into, like, the black pills and all that.
Was that when that was after COH hopped off and we were talking about the 6th, right?
Yeah, Hoops and COH left, and then we talked about the 6th, and we talked about what was the other thing?
Me and Lilith tried to break your spirit.
Yeah, and we were talking about how bad sex work was. That's where it started to take a turn. But they were like, someone was saying they want a white pill. So I feel like for this one, okay, yeah, we should go into.
I think
SLAV.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I feel like you got, like, more of a white pill perspective on, like, COVID relatively, which, like, you know, we could always use. And I feel like COH, we should go through the points that we were talking about before that we've been meaning to do.
I'm excited to hear that. Yeah.
I don't know that I have the fervor to really get into in its full honesty tonight, the way that I would like it to be represented, but we can definitely poke around in it. I just haven't had my mind in that mode for, like, the past week or so, because I've been busy with music stuff that I'll have to kind of, like, dig into it while we're going. But I think I'm pretty tapped in.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, I will say, just connecting what we're saying here to what we were just talking about too. Like, personally, I was just watching some, like, normie political video the other day, and they, like, randomly talked about you know, pharmaceuticals in a critical light. And I think that the thing we're talking about right now is you know, is also, like, reason to be optimistic. I think that the window is shifting when it comes to, like, just our pharmaceutical culture. And I think that that's nice. There's obviously the cognitive dissonance between, like, that and the fucking vax or die, bro. But you know, it becomes, you know how it is, like libs, or just the mainstream normies will deny reality, and then they will scoff at it for being cliche. Yeah. And then it will become so overwhelming that then they'll transition to well, of course I care about that and have an issue with it. Actually, if you were listening to me closely, I always cared about it. And I think that they're at the third stage right now. Yeah. Or at least transitioning into it with a lot of this pharmaceutical stuff. And that's great because one of the like the worst ways that I saw, like, social progressivism kind of cynically deployed was always defending pharmaceutical, like overprescribing shit to young people, because it was like mental health positive. And I'm really glad to see that starting to die. So that's a cause for white pill. But then also, I'm the designated white pill for COVID today, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, kind of what it sounds like. Yeah.
Well, you know, and the narrative in general has been taking some hits in general. Yeah. But yeah. Well, okay. So yeah, we should definitely get into that.
It's always time for the pandemic.
Something on the side that probably won't even take that long, but maybe we could start with this. What's this Marjorie Taylor Greene thing? Is like
it ties into the COVID. So that's good.
right, because she got hit for COVID, right? Mm-hmm. But I was trying to find what she said that did her in. I couldn't find it.
I don't really know. Like, as far as I can tell, like sorry, you go ahead, COH.
I was just going to say, as of now, they're being very nondescript and just saying that she had her 5th strike, because apparently there's some new, or I don't know, some sort of Twitter rule that they have in the handbooks or in the, the code of conduct or whatever, that you can only have 5 strikes as far as COVID misinformation, things that get flagged as that. So she had 5 strikes. And when I was reading the article earlier, the ones they didn't say what the 5th strike was. They said, quote unquote, she tweeted on Saturday falsely about extremely high amounts of COVID vaccine deaths. And then it said that was her 5th strike, which meant her account will not be restored. The company issued her a 4th strike in August after she falsely posted that vaccines were failing and not doing what they were intended to do. Her 3rd strike was less than a month before that, when she tweeted that COVID-19 was not that dangerous and vaccines should not be mandated. I don't understand what's a strike about any of those, obviously. But that last one's fucking ridiculous. Just, it's not that serious. Maybe we shouldn't mandate vaccines. Boom.
The news
That's
says
a strike.
The news says that it's not that dangerous. Not the mandating part. They do say that, but it's not that dangerous. They have said that.
It's true. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Orrin pointed that out too. It's just funny that people would get slapped with suspensions for saying things that the experts are saying. They're literally saying this isn't that serious.
Yeah, it's just it just depends on when you say it.
Yeah, and your tone, I guess, and your
and what political party you vote for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fucking freaks, dude. I don't know, man. I mean, I guess that's a little bit better than I expected. My point, because I wanted to talk about that. I didn't actually really know the backstory. That's a little more reasonable than I expected it to be. Because I was just going to say Marjorie Taylor Greene, as far as I can tell, is generally kind of just playing the role of being the shit throwing baboon that everyone can just kind of laugh at.
Yeah, no doubt.
I was just going to say her getting banned is great in my mind, not because I want her to be censored or that I believe in that or anything, but just because the more people see that this consolidation of power on these platforms is bad by an elected official being censored on these monopolies by unelected officials, that's great. Very little is lost by not having Marjorie Taylor Greene throwing her feces on Twitter. And so if someone's going to get thrown off, it's great. And then hopefully it is a call to action for people that have the correct values about censorship. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty funny because it's all stuff that is it's true depending on the window of time. These things that she's gotten strikes for, and the strikes aren't retroactively corrected.
Oh, of course not. No, they're literally, I just saw something from Face the Nation, a clip where they're talking about, they have a doctor on that's saying, quote, at this stage of the pandemic, cloth masks don't provide much protection against COVID-19. And this is on CBS Face the Nation on national TV. And that's something that they were banning people from Twitter for even suggesting a few months ago.
Amazing.
Yeah, that thing threw me off because I thought they were talking about masks in general, but then some libs were like, well, actually, they're talking about cloth masks, not N95s.
Yeah. Well, they're like, oh, they put out some new thing. They're like, oh, we need to actually switch to these new types of masks. We need to have all N95 and some other kind that I've never even heard of. I've never even seen any of these bullshit.
Which masks. Again, that is correct.
Yeah.
The cloth masks never did anything.
Of course.
It was only ever KN95s and N95s that did literally anything at all, right? But it's you can't fucking say anything bad about the religious vestments.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's like you're literally telling me I can walk around with a cloth mask that's barely hanging on my face that I can still smell my coworkers' farts through, and that's somehow supposed to help me not get COVID. Are you shitting me? If I can smell a fart, I can get a COVID droplet or whatever the fuck it is. I'm almost certain of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just funny. It's funny, like them even saying that it's like a flu. Some of them even on the news saying like, oh, it's a cold. Mm-hmm. It's funny the things that now are like okay to say, but we're in a weird period now where it's still not okay to say because unless you have a PhD or whatever. If you don't have a PhD and you say it's a cold, that's misinformation. If you have a PhD and say it's a cold, that's accurate. But it's just kind of strange. I don't know how I imagine this going in like timeline wise, but I didn't think it would be this fast for them to just say like, yeah, it's just a cold, and that's just on the news, and it's like what? Like that was like a serious offense. That was like Nazi talk like a year or two ago, not even that long ago.
Well, unfortunately, the difference here is that they have it's COVID's not a cold. COVID Omicron variant is a cold. And I guess maybe maybe there's enough truth to that for them to not need to actually own anything retroactively.
Yeah, it's a nice out. I forgot who somebody was saying that too. It was just like it's like Oedipus Ma, I think. Bridget. I remember. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would love to. I don't think she comes on shows, but she'd be great. But yeah, I mean, aside from the COVID stuff, yeah, the Marjorie Taylor Greene, like I don't really know much about her, to be honest. I do have this image in my head of like, okay, I remember leftists were upset about her doing the thumbs down thing. No way, is that Kristen Sinema? Am I mixing them up? I might be. Damn, I'm fucking racist and sexist.
You can't be racist. They're white.
Right.
Yeah, you're in the clear.
I can't really tell. Yeah, I don't really know. I'm definitely mixing the two of their reputations in my head, so I don't really know much about.
They're both hated by liberals.
They play similar roles. I feel like I don't know anything about the cinema except for what I've heard.
They're both political heels.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Kristen Sinema, senator from Nevada, Arizona. Whatever, man. Who gives a shit? It's all the same. But Marjorie Taylor Greene is like one of these kind of, MAGA. She's like Boebert, right? She's very attention getting, controversial. And it's always pretty dumb, I mean, like, it all of this stuff always requires the qualifier of just saying like, I prefer these wacky, MAGA conservatives over like your average fucking neo-lib lizard. But like only marginally, because they're still just playing the controlled opposition thing, 100%. Right? Like, it's just like a waste of time. And if anything, they're just reifying the premises and the straw man argument.
100%.
And so like that's what I'm saying is it's just like, oh man, like however will the discourse the discourse deserves retards like this, but like however will Twitter and the online right ever recover from not having this fucking shit throwing baboon on here anymore? I can call her baboon because she's white. And this beast from antiquity.
And people like that piss me off, bro, because of the fact of what you're saying right there. Like, it delegitimizes the entire like underlying premises that might be being represented through her, or at least people are trying to pin upon her. Like, I'm sitting here wondering, why is there no, like, she's the only vocal, people like her, maniacs that you see talk about Jewish space lasers and crazy shit like that. They're just around just to seem like buffoons. These are people who they allow in there to just seem fucking idiotic and absurd, to fit the caricature of what they already have in the liberal ontology for what, a MAGA, conspiracy believer kind of acts and what they believe. And so I'm thinking, man, it's crazy that there's no vocal opposition towards COVID stuff. And then you look and you say, oh, well, the only people that are actively being flagged for vocal opposition, who are being banned for it, et cetera, are these fucking goons. Yeah, these fucking retards, dude. And it's like, well, yeah, that makes the whole thing seem retarded. Of course, when your only face on it is Marjorie fucking Taylor Greene. Like, I'm sick of that shit.
I also, it's just like you hear like some of the strikes you listed. It's like okay, that's pretty reasonable. At the same time, and hey, I could be wrong, right? I mean, like I would never say this to my dear boys on Rare Candy or anything, but like I don't know, like huge, large numbers of people dying from the vaccine, like. I don't know about that. I'm saying, I could be wrong on that, but it's kind of the same thing as COVID, which was just like, I remember in the beginning of all this, just being like, okay, well, where are the bodies in the street? Okay. You know, like, come on, dude, come on.
No, I think that people are probably dying from the vaccine, but I don't think that I don't think it's something like absurd. I think there's just like they were trying to blow up COVID numbers, like you're saying, I think that they do the same thing to try to minimize any type of liability as far as side effects and
I would say that I agree.
It's undeniable that people are dying from the vaccine. It's undeniable that people are dying from COVID. Nobody's going to dispute that. We're just talking about proportion, scale. We're just talking about like, and that's why there's that meme of like, that the two soy jacks, and one of them's got the needle in them and the other one doesn't, and they're like,
right.
You're a funeral. And they're both just saying that to each other. And it's just nothing happening for like, I fucking love that already. Neither of them are dying. And it's kind of like, that's honestly how I really view it. I really do that because like, again, I think a lot of it is loaded with salt water. I mean, they've said some of them are just salt or sugar water or whatever, placebo. But yeah, again, like what you were saying about the delegitimizing by like tangentially delegitimizing like Marjorie Taylor Greene and all that. Like, I feel that way about the 5G stuff. I feel that way about like there's poison in the vaccine. I feel like, look, man, I still don't know what the 5G thing is. I still don't know to this day. I don't know what that's about. I don't know the details of that conspiracy. And hey, maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I'll be Alex Jones. The right's got a good like streak. Conspiratards have like a good streak.
Yeah, good.
So I'm always, absolutely. I'm always like humble enough now to admit like, yo, I might be wrong, whatever. But at the same time, like I feel like a lot of that is delegitimizing like regular critiques of vaccines and this whole fucking money scheme. And I'm not gonna rule out that any of that's not true. That maybe they are just killing everybody. Who knows? Maybe. But at the same time, I feel like I don't think that's a prerequisite for being against this. That's the thing I always keep telling people. It's like there's plenty of reasons to be against it before that, without even that. So like them restructuring society, like the Great Reset. That's a reason in itself. Like, but I think, people like things that are more visceral, like they're going to turn you gay or whatever, or sterilize you.
Yeah, hyperbole.
Did you see that shit about the Great Reset? Bloomberg put out an article like 2 weeks ago that was like, fact check, actually, the Great Reset is real. And it was actually put out by the World Economic Forum, but it's good. It was in response to COVID-19, how to rebuild the world as a more equitable place. That shit blew my mind, bro. They were like, yeah, actually it's happening and it's good.
I don't know if you guys feel this way, but like the back and forth of everything, like things becoming like acceptable and not acceptable and the crisscrossing and all that. Like, yeah, there's the hypocrisy argument. I don't really give a fuck about hypocrisy. I think that's a useless argument. But just there's like a mind numbing,
I said right wingers take note.
Yeah. Exactly. But like, I think there's a psychological warfare effect of that, where it just kind of like numbs me out, and it kind of just, I don't know if you guys feel like that, but it just kind of like, it builds apathy. It just programs apathy into me.
I think I know what you mean, but explain a little. Like just seeing stuff like them criticize or contradict themselves within like a window of like 2 months.
Yeah. Like if them saying, oh, if you say it's a cold, you're a Nazi. Now, if you say it's a cold, that's right. And then changing again and then doing all that. Like, yes, I don't really care about the hypocrisy thing, but like there's an effect where it kind of numbs me out, where I'm kind of just like, it doesn't matter what they say tomorrow. Like they could say anything tomorrow. Again, I've said this before, but like they could be like, yeah, this was all planned. We were in a smoke filled room planning this all out. They could just say that on CNN. And I don't know if I would feel anything. I feel like a lot of people feel like that. I would just like, yeah, whatever, man. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to feel about this anymore, because like I'm overloaded. Like my senses are fried. You get what I mean? Like,
Totally.
I don't know if you guys get that feeling. Like,
No, I mean it's kind of like being in like a relationship with just like a psycho bitch or something, and they just constantly there's constantly an issue, there's constantly drama, and it's like, dude, like, you know, that's crazy, you know. But if you're always taking the bait and you're always getting down into the mud with them and you're always going at it, then like that's kind of its own kind of crazy, you know. And it's normal. It's like a way of your mind protecting itself to just be like, nah, you know, whatever, you know. Oh, did you hear about bro, the new variant, bro, please, bro, the new variant, bro. And it's like, no, I'm done, you know. Like boy, you cried wolf, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like how can you can't just keep doing it every time, you know. That's just how the human mind works, you know. And I think that's part of it. I think it also, though, is just like, you know, for as much as I like to make fun of the whole I want to break the habit of just always talking about libs and leftists, because it is just kind of, I want to just start hating normies more specifically. Even though it is the libs. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's the most contemptible.
I'm pro normie, but I get what you mean. I know what you mean.
Well, you're a normie optimist.
Yeah. I think that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think I am doing. Anyways, whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying, fuck, I might have forgotten what I was saying. No, just like this whole thing of stigmatizing checking out of the news and all of that. You know, in a democracy, it's your responsibility to be knowledgeable. You know what I mean? Civic duty, yeah. It's your thank you. Yeah, if you don't vote, you don't have any right to complain. Right. Suck my dick. And like, I think that it does, as much as I like to make fun of that, there is like a little bit of that, I mean, at least I have internalized. And so it is a little bit painful when you like, when you do see this stuff, and it is just like, oh yeah, like they couldn't say a month ago, but now they're saying it, you know, completely confidently, and, you know, up is down and blue is red and nothing means anything. And like, why should I even fucking get invested in this shit? Yeah. And like, and it still, it doesn't really nest super well with that part of your brain that's like, but I should, right? Like, don't give up. Like, no black pills on this train, right? Right. It's like genuinely painful.
No, you're right. I mean, fighting the apathy thing is very important, and I don't like that apathy thing. I think it's deliberate. I think they do this, the back and forth and the I think it's on purpose to build that apathy, because I feel it working on me, and I know it works on other people.
Oh yeah.
But obviously it's something that we gotta like have a resolve against for sure, 100%. But it's just something to be aware of. Like, I feel like that's a breaking thing, and I feel like people are saying the COVID narrative is falling apart because they're admitting all these contradictions and they're kind of backpedaling on all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That is something. I just feel like I've seen it before, and I just feel like
your mic just went retard mode there.
Oh, sorry. Am I all right now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I you know, people are saying that the COVID narrative is falling apart and they're backtracking a lot of stuff, and you know, that's cool, and that's always like another piece of evidence that they're full of shit and all that. I just feel like it's been so much of it. Like, ever since they told people to go protest in 2020 for the BLM thing, like ever since that, I just feel like there's been a million like backtracks and all that I don't know. I it's hard for me to feel this. Like, there's a lot of triumph on the right now of like, yo, it's over. Their narrative fell apart. They're giving up. And I'm just like, I can't feel it. I don't feel it because I'm like, bro, they've said a million things and it keeps going. It's still going. All this is still going every day. So like, it's hard for me to feel that. But
yeah, I don't know that I think that like the narrative is collapsing or falling apart or anything like that particularly. I just think that the small cracks that have come out, and maybe it's not even cracks, maybe it's, you know, included in the narrative and that's just, they knew this was going to happen, but where, you know, Omicron is essentially allowing the pandemic to become endemic without any type of real issue. It's not bringing the deaths that they thought it would. Fauci's now on TV saying, oh, you know what, actually it's not that dangerous. There actually won't be a spike in hospitalizations. And I'm seeing people that I know, coworkers, friends who I've previously heard either not say anything about COVID or just be kind of, baseline. Oh, we need to do our things and be safe, and I'm doing my part. Those kind of people are now slowly engaging in, oh, it's just a cold. Oh, this isn't that serious. And it's allowing them to kind of get to the point of where I think we kind of have been with it, where it's just like, I'm not going to let COVID really just like how people are reacting to COVID shape my entire life. Like, I'm not going to sit around and be terrified of this virus. I'm not going to, isolate myself from my loved ones, my friends, self-isolate all the fucking time and do maniac shit in order to Grubhub all the fucking time, because it's not that fucking serious. And I think that one positive thing that's happening is that a lot of normal people are getting to the point of realizing it, because the narrative has shifted in one way or another, whether it's crumbling, whether, this is a intentional shift, or whether it's just something that was inevitable that was going to happen. That it doesn't really matter, I don't think, because functionally it's getting a lot of people to the point of just being like, oh, yeah, this is just a fucking cold. I'm not worried about it anymore.
Yeah. I think that is a true like positive aspect of like, there's a lot more people more comfortable saying that this is bullshit. And I'm sure there were a lot of people that felt that way, last year or whatever, and just weren't vocal about it, because it's like, is it worth the heat, worth the flack or whatever? Is it even worth it? If you're like more apolitical, you just don't want smoke or whatever. But it is. Yeah, I mean, when it started, it felt very quiet as far as like people saying anything about it. And now it feels like there's so many more voices saying stuff about it. So like, I get that sense of triumph of like, yo, the tide is turning and all that. So that's I think that's undeniable. I think that's definitely. I think more people are definitely seeing that it's like, yeah, they're seeing it for what it is. I mean, how could they not?
I think the public perception is changing a little bit. I don't think that the narrative is crumbling or anything like that, or we're winning or anything really, as so much as that the public perception of the illness itself is changing.
I think for me, the biggest thing is I see normies. I see and I hear normies that I know in real life making jokes about the CDC and talking about how the CDC is full of shit.
Yeah.
And these are fucking, these are the last people that would have, tolerated hearing this stuff last year.
Oh, yeah.
And this comes down to, the basic reason why I, voted for Trump in the first place in 2020, which is anything to rattle the cage and delegitimize these institutions is good. Yeah. There is not a lot on the table right now that is meaningfully good that I can actually, put my trailer on or tie my whatever, insert metaphor here, turn a phrase. And in my mind, voting for Trump in that kind of disruptive way was good and helpful. I was pretty confident in that. And seeing normies shit on the CDC in a similar way is undeniably a good thing in my mind. So, is it the tangible thing of, like, oh boy, the government has, stopped destroying small business and people's civil liberties, and they've backed down on this security state and all of that? No, it's not. It's not as tangible as that. I wish it was. I'm very cautiously optimistic because I've been taught not to be that optimistic with this stuff. But as far as stuff that I can actually observe in my life with the normal people around me, seeing some normie, nurse or TikTok girl make jokes about the CDC and taking the piss out of them. That's good. That's unbelievable, dude. And again, women are like the social enforcers and arbiters, right? And so to see them go, hey, it's a big joke, the fucking Center for Disease Control is like, whoa, like the grand scale large social systems are making moves right now, and it's in the right direction. Now, having said that, with the CDC stuff and everything, unfortunately, the reasons for why the CDC sucks are all horrible premises that just reify what got us here in the first place.
Right.
But there's a kernel of truth to the stuff. and it's good to just see people, because every time someone walks out the door of the, you know, faith in elite institutions club, the second someone leaves, there is a significant amount of those people that will not be coming back next time.
100%.
And that is great. I mean, think about, you know, the amount of people that voted for Trump in 2016. How many of those people do you think actually switched back over to voting for like a DNC candidate?
Probably not a lot.
Richard Spencer. Richard Spencer. No. You're right. That's a what? Yeah, I mean, if you get red pilled, I mean, he's like he's a fucking fed media figure. He's a fed. He's a grifter. He's got agendas. So obviously, it's not an organic opinion. But yeah, as far as organic opinions, yeah, if you get like red pilled, I don't think there's any way you're gonna go back to hunky dory bullshit.
Or sorry, not even just red pilled, just reality pilled, just giving up on the fucking game. I'm done playing this fucking circus, dude. And for normal people that aren't involved, like people that aren't celebrities or involved in these industries that have material incentives for drinking the Kool-Aid, it's like, come on, just take the jump, just take that extra step. Please, right? Yeah. And honestly, like, as much as I fucking hate, and I think that, you know, fucking Macaulay Culkin, I literally just did a word. I literally just read that on the internet and then just mixed that up.
I do that a lot too.
Okay, not Macaulay Culkin. Healthcare work.
Your favorite hentai.
Healthcare workers. Okay, as different of a word as it could possibly be. As much as I have just utter contempt for them, right? Those would be good people to have, you know, become disenchanted with the system, especially because, you know, not all of them are getting, you know, checks cut to them by fucking big pharma and everything. A lot of these nurses and lower people down on the totem pole are being exploited 10 ways to Sunday. They are getting it up the ass in a way that it boggles the mind.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and they got screwed on the vax mandate shit. So
that's why I've been so interested with, like, I think that the nurses specifically, like nurse unions and groups of nurses that have been protesting the vaccine mandate and also just bringing out to light some of the misinformation that's been going around. I think that's a very intriguing and interesting development, and I think that it's good. I think that having people like that on your side, also lends a sense of legitimacy.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because, like, you know, one of the dominant kind of languages these days is just like expert worship. And so it's like, oh, hey, talking about cultivating a counter elite. All right. That's what I'm talking about.
Nurses, bro.
Yeah. You know, and this is why I've sort of been more strongman pilled recently, and why Bog Beef's American Caesar thing makes a lot more sense these days. Is I realize
it does make a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
People are very impressionable. It cannot be overstated. People are very impressionable. People want to be told what to think, and they want to follow somebody. That's how we're wired. Who knows why? I mean, I'm not going to get into, like, I don't know the Evo psych as to what that's about or whatever, but that's how we're fucking wired. And, like, because you wonder, like, hey, man, these guys lied to you about, you know, the war on terror, like, not that long ago. So why are you still talking about the experts? Like, they admitted they lied about all that shit, and people still do. So there's nothing intellectual about it. There's something more primal. I feel like it's like people just like to, like, follow shit. So I think authority. That's why. Yeah, it's like they like to outsource their thinking and all that stuff. So I think that's why an American, like, strongman figure is almost necessary. I don't think it can just come from. I used to think the people themselves could just will it. I'm done with that. I'm pretty sure you need, like, a guy to slap them around to manhandle.
Well, this is also why, like, this is the biggest case against like a lot of Enlightenment values in my mind, is that it is just like it would be so great. It would be so great if everybody was just completely a rational, logical actor, and they were factcheck.org. The existence of shit like just how widespread the obsession with fact checking is more of like an aspirational value than anything, right? No one's actually fact checking anything ever. Right. No one gives a shit to even fact check anything. And I don't think that it's in human nature to fucking do that. Right. This is a model for culture and society and the individual subject that just like is not in line with how people actually are. Right. And you need some kind of leadership that is enlightened and does actually have a good set of values, as opposed to just like this kind of completely just, you know, totally unaccountable cabal of, you know, middle manager educated class. It's a fucking mess, dude. It's a fucking mess.
And they view it as a status thing. They view it as like, oh, the fact checking thing and a lot of that lib stuff. A lot of that is just status. It's like, oh, the wealthy people are libs. I mean, that's how I view it. I mean, maybe people disagree about that, but like they're the bougie people are libs, and like there's a status thing implied of like, well, if you want to be a successful person in life, it was like the facts thing. If you want to be jet setting and like cultured and traveling, get into the exclusive clubs, you got to be lib. You got to take the vaccine early. If you had better connection, you got it early. If you know, you're woker, you know, the woke speak, you got the patch update on the latest woke speak.
Right.
You're like
workers in the knowledge economy.
Yeah. So I think there's a status thing. I think that's why people kind of default to it and are just attracted to it. But I just want to be clear, like, as far as the American Caesar thing, there's got to be an exchange. Caesar gave his plebs something. So I want people, I hope no one listening like misinterprets, like, I don't mean just like some strongman just off the strength of him doing whatever. Like, there's got to be a,
of course. Well, and you know,
strongman like that doesn't really work. Like, that's the reason why Caesar worked, right? Like, Caesar was able to actually come into such a place of power because there was a material base for that, right? There were social forces that were coming into play that led to the peasantry and the plebeians being a pretty strong force that wasn't actually being tapped into at all, wasn't being listened to at all. Legitimacy in the state and the current senators was falling. And also conditions were not good. And so he was able to come into power in a marriage with the plebeians. It was, I mean, ultimately, yes, he was a strong man who, you know, he
became a dictator for sure.
Yeah. But I think ultimately, like, if you look at what he did, I mean, he was pretty much representative of those subjects to a large degree, because that's how he got his power, right? Like, he didn't just come into it and will Rome into his hands, right? Like, there were things that were in play that allowed the creation and the formation of a Caesar type character to come along and then capitalize upon those conditions.
Well, I'll also point out, like, you know, having your own like fucking, you know, army is like is a big part in that thing going on there too. But yeah, and I mean, you mentioned Bog Beef as the person talking about this, and I think, you know, I guess for people that aren't active listeners of Good Old Boys podcast or on Twitter, you know, like, you know, inherent in everything Bog is saying is always, you know, patronage, right?
Yeah.
And so there's the mutually beneficial arrangement there. So, you know, yes, Caesar was a populist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and because his competitors had like money. The environment was very corrupt. They had ties, they had connections. He didn't have all those advantages. So there's a gap where these plebs are, you know, dissatisfied, and then he can offer them land or offer them whatever, something material, and then he's got like an in. And that's how he got from under his competitors with all their like institutional backing and all that. So I think a lot of that applies to
All right, that was part 1 of our episode. If you'd like to listen to part 2, you can find that at patreon.com/fedpost. Thanks for listening.